Welcome to Beneath the Wing. Just like air passing over the wing of an aircraft provides lift, the people we meet can also give us lift in life by sharing their stories of strength and success, connecting us all. Beneath the Wing explores the stories of the men and women connected with the Minnesota Air National Guard's 133rd Airlift Wing. This special series is dedicated to our airmen's first-year stories. Hear from our wing's newest members, from enlisted aviators to electricians, aircraft maintainers to medics, and all jobs in between. These airmen have transformed from high school students to dedicated and involved members of the 133rd Airlift Wing family. In their own words, they'll share how they chose their military job, the connection they have with the team, and how they've changed from young civilian to American airman. I'm your host, Wing Command Chief Mark Legvold. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Beneath the Wing First Year Stories. Today I have Airman First Class Parker Haglund joining me. Parker's a 2022 graduate of Anoka High School, and he is currently in Air Force Tech School, and we're doing this remotely. Welcome to the podcast, Parker.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely a pleasure on our end. So you joined the military while you were still a senior in high school, didn't you?
That is correct.
How did that work?
Well, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do after my senior year, and one day the Navy recruiters came into one of my classes, and they kind of sparked my interest and kind of like introduced me to the military path. And then I actually had an uncle who was a retired colonel, and so I reached out to him and asked him a lot of questions about it, and that eventually led me to the wing.
That's great. Well, we're glad that the Navy and your uncle kind of brought you along into our fold, because it sure is a special place where we served. You enlisted in April. You graduated in June-ish of that same year. So what's it like as a high school student making that commitment and still having high school to finish, but you're still enlisted in the military? If I'd never done that before, it was totally foreign. What does that look like?
Um, I mean, it kind of just it gives you some structure and stability to what you're gonna do next. You don't really necessarily have to like think about what you're gonna do next because it's already planned out for you,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yep. So you already had 13 college credits when you finished high school. You graduated. Did you come out to the military base between that graduation date and when you left for basic training in August?
I did. I went to 2 or 3 drill weekends.
And as a not going to basic training military member, what did that look like for you?
It was definitely weird at first because I was in civilian uniform, just wearing normal clothes, and everyone else is in the OCPs, the military uniform, and so I kind of just stand out to everyone. But it's also cool to see how things work before you're shipped off to basic.
Were there other people on the wing just like you in civilian clothes?
Yeah, one of my friends, Logan Hopkins, we shipped out to basic at the same time, so we were at the wing together before.
So even it with it being a little weird being in civilian clothes while we're all wearing our Sunday best camouflage, you still had people around you that you were still the same age, going through the same experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you showed up to basic training, Parker. A lot of people that join active duty don't quite know what they're going to do when they join the military. Did you already know what job you were going to do?
I did. I got to choose when I enlisted. I chose aerospace propulsion.
Aerospace propulsion, which sounds fantastic. Are you a are you a rocket scientist?
No, I'm an engine mechanic.
Great. What? So you're learning that job now, and you're in Texas, but you're in northern Texas, right?
Yeah.
So Shepherd Air Force Base is up kind of close to the Oklahoma border, and a lot of new jet mechanics go through that school. In fact, that's where everyone goes for jet mechanic school, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What when you're going through your training, what's that jet mechanic certification going to look like when you come back and get fully trained up? Does that allow you to get a civilian job?
Um, I would have to do a little bit of schooling afterwards, but it would definitely give me like a good foundation and starting point to get an A&P certification, which is aircraft and power plant, and that's what like all the major airlines use to hire mechanics.
Awesome. So you'd have a leg up on your civilian competition if you were out there looking for a job as a jet mechanic for Delta or Southwest or Sun Country or any of those big ones.
For sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, why did you choose that particular job? Did you have like an interest in working with your hands, or does the idea of working on jet engines is that something you're enthusiastic about, or how did you get pointed in that direction?
I've always been very interested in cars, and just recently, the past couple of years, I've been very hands on, and I always like building stuff up and breaking stuff down, kind of like Legos. And I think that just steered me towards being an engine mechanic.
That's great, and I'm sure it's going to serve you well as you go along. Not only does that, kind of mechanical aptitude get judged, but there's other aptitudes that the military needs. You had to take a test in order to get into the military. Can you describe that experience and what that test was like?
Yeah, so the test is called the ASVAB. I'm not really sure what it stands for, but it it was kind of long, kind of like your ACT, but way easier than the ACT, and for me at least. And it was kind of a it was an easy process. I went to the MEP station downtown Minneapolis and did a bunch of processing stuff, and the test was about 3 hours, and you got your results almost immediately, and then that'll tell you, depending on how you score, that'll tell you what jobs you can pick.
Great. And so you basically were told by that score whether you'd be good in administration or mechanical stuff, just some general skills. It measures a lot and
Correct.
tells you a lot about you as a worker and as a person, doesn't it? Yeah. And thankfully, you got a high
Yeah.
enough score on the mechanical part to qualify for the job that you really wanted. Do you know if there were other jobs that you were qualified for?
Um, I scored high enough to qualify for pretty much every job.
So your Anoka High School experience has prepared you pretty well to be successful on that test.
Yes.
Great. So you chose your job. You went to basic training, and basic training's in a different part in Texas. It's down in San Antonio at Lackland. What was that experience like for you? You showed up. You're in civilian clothes, and what is there, about 70 people or so, just like you?
Yeah, there's about 70 people, and it's all very confusing at first. You don't really know what you're doing. You're kind of thinking like, what have I got myself into? And everyone's telling you where to go. It's very hot too, even though I went down in late August, and it's just a long experience. But as long as you put your mind to it, it's not too hard.
What did you do to get ready for that experience? You didn't just go in there cold, did you?
No, I I was constantly like watching videos on YouTube about the BMT experience. That'll only get you so far though, because obviously they can't tell you everything. And I was working out a lot, running a lot, and I believe that helped me the most was preparing physically, because that's pretty much the only thing you can prepare for. And I didn't have to worry about the physical expectations once I got there.
Were you a little scared showing up there?
Of course.
Yeah. What was the thing that made you the most anxious about it?
Um, Not really knowing what it was gonna be, because I still kind of had no idea what it was exactly gonna be like, and of course, not being able to contact like my family a whole lot.
That must have been hard. Was that the biggest challenge or the hardest thing that you had to go through at basic training?
Yeah, I'd say not being able to talk to your family or friends and see them every day would be the hardest part.
Yeah, you kind of got used to that, I'm sure, growing up. But did you make a lot of new friends down there?
Yeah, and it's really unique seeing people come from all over the country. Even some people came from outside the country, and it was just cool to see everyone's like different experiences so far in life.
Was that the most diverse group of people you've ever met and worked with?
I think it was.
Yeah, it was for me too. That was the first time that I really started hearing accents a lot more frequently from around the country. It was
Yeah.
super unique, and that was a long time ago for me, Parker. What was the highlight of basic training for you?
Um, I want to just I want to say like laughing with all the friends that you make because you're all going through the same thing, and there's a lot of funny things that happen, but you kind of a lot of my friends say it's the funniest place you can't laugh.
It's a great description of that. Is you graduated from basic training? Then that's usually a pretty big ceremony. Was yours pretty huge?
Yeah, there's a lot of people. The crowds are like filled, and it's just really cool because that's the first day you get to see your family in 2 months.
And got through that experience. It's a fantastic formation. I've been to one since they've remodeled Lackland, and it's absolutely a wonderful patriotic experience. And then just seeing so many people just starting their military life out, so excited about it. I'm sure you were one of them. And once you graduated, you got a chance to spend time with family a little bit down there in San Antonio, correct?
Yeah, we got to go around Lackland, and we got to explore San Antonio, go to a few restaurants. It was fun.
Eat a meal at a restaurant a little bit slower than they expect you to in basic, I imagine.
Yeah, you can actually taste your food.
Some things don't change. So your family takes off, and then the Air Force sends you to basically a another little bit less of a basic training field, but you're now kind of in student mode again, aren't you?
Yeah.
What's a normal day at class to become a jet mechanic like for you?
So I wake up around 5. I go eat breakfast, and then we start marching to class at around 6:30. And class starts at 7, and then you're in school. You get like an hour for lunch, which is pretty nice. And you we're either in a classroom setting where we're taking notes, learning about new topics, or we're in a hands-on setting where we're actually like working on the engines. And that's my favorite part because we actually get to learn how to be mechanics and use our knowledge. And you're in school until 3:30 ish, so it's not too long of a day.
Mm-hmm. And then is there studying outside of that, or are you pretty much done with school for the day and done with any kind of structure at 3 o'clock?
After afterwards I like to study. I'll make note cards because that helps me out a lot, and it'll only take up like an hour of my afternoon is studying, so it's not too much.
What else do you do with your spare time while you're there?
Most of it goes towards the gym. I love being in the gym, and I'll spend like an hour and a half, and then I'll go eat dinner, and then kind of just wind down, relax.
So you're getting paid to go to jet mechanic school, and you're getting paid to work out all at the same time.
Yeah, it's great.
What's next? Free food?
Yeah.
How is the food at Shepherd? I mean, when somebody thinks about a military meal, a lot of people think those brown bags that we see that can stay on a shelf for over a decade and still be edible. What's the food like at a military technical school?
So the food here is amazing. There's pretty much anything you can think of. They got grilled stuff, um, burgers, which is one of my favorites. Everything changes every single day. Besides breakfast, breakfast is always the same. You can custom order an omelet. I always get that, and I don't think I'll ever get tired of the food here.
And eventually you have to leave. Parker, you shared with me that you're going to be finishing up your technical school here in the around the 1st of March. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep. And then you get to fly home and show up back here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Are you pretty much done with the military then until the next drill weekend, or do you start back up at the base? How does it look once you're done with tech school?
So I fly home March 2nd, and I don't know if I start right away, but there's seasoning days at the base where it's kind of like on the job training, and that ranges from anywhere to 30 to 90 days. I'm not sure yet, but that's what I'll be doing right after tech school.
Great. And that's you're working alongside people that have been doing the jet mechanic job in the military on our C-130s for several years, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. About how many people are in your shop that you're going to be going back to?
I'd say close to 20 people.
Awesome. So getting back March 2nd, it's going to start to feel a little bit like spring. Thankfully, you're not going to deal with our Minnesota winters. I was sharing with Parker before we got recording today that it's -3 in Minnesota today, and just a good day to hibernate and stay inside. You're there in Texas. You get a chance to work out and have some good meals. Get paid to go to school. Do you know how many college credits, actual college credits, you're earning while you're down there?
So I remember our instructors telling us the amount, but we get awarded an associate's of applied science degree from the Air Force College, Community College of the Air Force, and I think it's around 20 to 40 credits, I believe.
20 to 40 college credits, and those are college credits you're not going to have to pay for. They just show up on your transcript.
Correct.
Yeah. Understanding. Parker, I'm not sure, do you have the goal of going through and finishing your bachelor's degree eventually?
I do, and I want to finish it as soon as possible.
Absolutely. So those college credits through the community college of the Air Force, they count toward a bachelor's degree at like the University of Minnesota, don't they?
Yeah.
Awesome. I know I used mine and applied them toward my bachelor's degree, and it sure does help. It's basically college credit you get paid to get. That's great. Hey, when you were back at Anoka as a senior in high school or even a junior in high school, think about what Parker Haglund looked like walking around the halls as a Anoka tornado. How are you a different person today than you were then? How's the Air National Guard and your experience in the military changed you already?
Um, I would say I'm much more mature, and obviously I look different physically because I don't have all the hair that I used to have, and I've gotten bigger. I used to be pretty skinny, but the Air Force helped me get stronger, and I've grown to like almost become an adult. Obviously, I'm still 18, so I'm not fully an adult yet, but I know how to manage my time now, make schedules, and just be like way more responsible than I used to be.
It is a great transformation that a lot of people go through, Parker, and hearing you reflect on that a little bit makes me wish I was starting back up again. But sometimes I need that sense of scheduling and discipline. Knowing that you are going into something that is going to be a part of your life for a while, what do you think Parker Haglund is going to look like 4 years from now?
I hope not too different because I like being me, but I'd say I'm pretty close to like settling down, maybe buying a house by then, and just being set for the future, I guess.
I think the me that you are right now, Parker, is a good one. One of the things that folks stray away from the military is they feel like they will lose their sense of identity or individuality. Did you?
I I didn't. After it feels weird adapting to normal life after basic for a little bit. You kind of feel like you're still in 100% basic military training mode, and your friends are kind of looking at you weird, like, why are you saying the things that you say? But after a little bit, it wears off, and then you're still the normal person that you used to be. You still have your personality.
So you get a chance to keep that. You'll get a chance to come back, put on our fun camouflage. Are you going to work 1 weekend a month, do a couple weeks a year, and that's going to be your military experience? Are you hoping for a little bit more full time work?
If there's so I've been That's one of the things I've been thinking about lately, and if there is like a full time availability at the shop, I'll definitely try to take it because I genuinely like what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, the food and the free clothes are always good, right?
Yeah,
But the people you get to a chance to work with are also pretty darn unique. You got a chance to meet people from around the country, even other countries at basic. Going through the tech school experience, you're still working with a lot of folks from around the country. You're going to return home to Minnesota in March. You're going to work with a bunch of folks from Minnesota or Western Wisconsin that go on into the base. And um, is that a different feeling? I mean, I know you got a chance to experience before basic training, but is that a different feeling? The shop and the folks there at our aircraft maintenance area.
um, different feeling as to what.
Uh, Basically, how they treat each other, how they get people to fit in. They You know that they are going to be there for quite a long time. Some of the folks that have been working in our jet engine shop have been in the same shop with the same people for 10, 15 years and still show up to work and for the most part enjoy that. Did you get that sense of family and togetherness for the time that you had with them?
Yeah, right away it felt like the kind of experiences that I got with like my high school sports teams, and everyone's kind of just joking around, and it really feels like everyone like wants you to be there.
Yeah, and they definitely do. And we're hoping, Parker, that what you're learning and you're taking away from Texas there continues. We have a mission to do. It's an important one, but that sense of family and togetherness that our shops have, uh, people feel that, and that's usually the reason people kind of gravitate that feeling of a sports team. You were a sports guy growing up. Are you continuing any kind of? You said you talked about your physical fitness and how the military and the Air Forces wanted you to stay up with that. What are the other sports? What are your hobbies, and are you going to be able to pursue that when you get back from tech school?
I've always loved playing hockey and soccer, and when I get back, a lot of people have told me about the hockey team on base, so I'll definitely try to play on that. And as far as soccer, there's actually a soccer team here at Shepherd that we play every Saturday, and we play against the Saudi Arabians that are here, and so that's really fun.
What have you learned about playing against the Saudi Arabian team?
Uh, they're just like us, even though they don't speak our language, and they obviously can speak a little English, but they're funny. They're here for the same reason we are, and it's kind of fun to just forget about the stresses of school for a little bit and just play soccer.
Little known fact that Parker's sharing is our United States military. We also provide education and training for a lot of other countries. Saudi Arabia being one of our partners in owning the same aircraft, and so they get a chance to go through the schools. And Parker, you've had a chance to learn a little bit about different cultures just through your military experience already. Are you planning on traveling and taking other opportunities with the military if other countries come up that you can travel to?
I would love to. That was one of the reasons why I joined in the first place, is because I want to see the world. And I believe that there's a lot of opportunities to do that in the military.
There are, in fact, when our C-130s do deploy or go someplace to support operations and airdrop for the Army normally, we bring our mechanics along with just in case something needs to get fixed on the road. I'm sure you're going to get the opportunity to do that. What are your goals militarily, and what are your goals civilian-wise as we start to wrap things up here, Parker? What do you really hope to accomplish here in the next couple of years?
So I want to get my bachelor's degree for sure, and depending on where that takes me, I want to stay in the Guard as long as I can. I believe like if I do get a full-time job, then I can do that for quite a long time, and just kind of set up my future and just have a stable future and be able to not have to worry about financial decisions a whole lot.
You talked about your bachelor's degree. Is the Guard, the Air National Guard, going to be a supporting organization going through that? Do you know anybody else that's balancing kind of that military life, a civilian life as a student, and then also a civilian job?
I don't really know anyone who's doing it right now, but I do have a cousin that's at the Guard base right now that she went through the college education pathway through the Guard, and so I've been kind of reaching out to her, and she's been giving me a lot of good information.
Sounds like a good person to get a little bit of advice and mentorship from. Hey, I've been talking with Parker Haglund. He is a student at Shepherd Air Force Base learning to be an aerospace propulsion specialist in the Air National Guard, the Minnesota Air National Guard. In other words, a jet mechanic. Hey, Parker, thanks for joining me on Beneath the Wing today and sharing your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And I hope that as you're listening to this, you join us on our next episode of Beneath the Wing, where we continue to hear more first-year stories. As always, thanks for joining me on Beneath the Wing, where those connected with the 133rd Airlift Wing, Minnesota Air National Guard share their stories of strength and success. We will be releasing a new first-year story each Tuesday and Thursday throughout the month of February, March, and April. If you think you are someone whose story could be a part of our Wings family here in Minnesota and are seeking direction for your next step in life, or you know someone who is, please explore our opportunities at 133aw.ang.af.mil and share these podcasts. If you're outside our local area but are still interested in serving in the Air National Guard in your state or territory, goang.com will get you started. That's goang.com. As always, I'd like to thank our public affairs section, especially Amy Lovegren, for her post-production and release work. I've been your host, Wing Command Chief Master Sergeant Mark Legvold.